I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
What happens when jealousy gets so toxic that Colin Cowherd has to step in and absolutely cook someone on national television? When a veteran player's petty comment becomes the most embarrassing moment of her career. That's exactly what happened when Kelsey Plum decided to throw shade at Caitlin Clark, and Cowherd served her up so thoroughly, she may never recover from the heat. This isn't just sport.
It's time to grow up, girls, fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow.
Drama. This is about the most ungrateful attack on the very person who saved the WNBA. And when Cowherd finished roasting Plum, the entire league got a reality check it desperately needed. But to understand how brutal this takedown really was, you need to see the moment that exposed everything ugly about WNBA politics. The All-Star Game was supposed to be about unity. Players wore shirts with a powerful message: pay us what you owe us. A chance to demand respect. A chance to finally showcase solidarity. The message was perfect, the timing was right, and the league was finally making money. But then Kelsey Plum had to get weird. Sitting next to Sabrina Ionescu during the press conference, Plum dropped a petty jab.
Well, it was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just united front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
The room went cold. Even Ionescu looked uncomfortable, nervously laughing at her.
We had a very, that really needed to be mentioned. I'm trying to make a situation light, okay?
But Plum wasn't done. She doubled down, making sure the shade landed right where she wanted. On Caitlin Clark. Here's what makes this even more pathetic. Clark wasn't even playing. She was sidelined with an injury. She could have stayed quiet, stayed home, or just worried about herself. Instead, she showed up. She wore the shirt. She supported her teammates. She backed the message of solidarity. So what was Plum's point? Why take a shot at the one person responsible for filling arenas, selling jerseys, and getting those pay-us shirts on national television in the first place? That's when Colin Cowherd stepped in. And the beating he handed down was so vicious, so complete, that it left no doubt where the real problem.
So the T-shirts don't bother me. But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private.
Already eclipsed him, Cowherd didn't just defend Clark. He exposed a toxic culture that's been poisoning the WNBA from within. He reminded everyone of what life was like before Caitlin Clark transformed the league. Players crammed onto budget airlines, sleeping in cheap motels, scraping by in front of half-empty gyms. The most successful franchises were losing millions. Merchandise sales were so bad that fans couldn't even buy jerseys if they wanted to, and then Clark arrived. Overnight, everything changed. Merchandise sales exploded by 500%. Attendance jumped by 40% across the entire league. The Indiana Fever went from financial disaster to having a season ticket waiting list. Sponsorships, TV ratings, streaming numbers, all spiked to record highs at Cowherd's announcement.
Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a 4 Seasons in the shopping district.
The imagery like a punch to the gut. These players went from scraping by to living in luxury, all because one rookie changed the entire landscape. And their response? Not gratitude, not support, not unity. Instead, they attack her. If you think that's insane, wait until you hear how petty the jealousy really is. Fans voted Caitlin Clark the top guard for the All-Star Game. Where did her fellow players rank her? Ninth, the league's biggest draw. The reason
I don't mind the t-shirts. I think you have leverage. I think you deserve more than 9%. But it's just misstep after misstep. It's time to grow up, girls. Like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow. Right? She got you an upgrade to a better hotel as a band member.
Arenas are sold out. The reason their paychecks look different than they did 2 years ago, and her own peers rank her ninth, that's not a coincidence. That's envy, plain and simple. Cowherd put it bluntly, you can't fight the wave. You never know what success looks like. Then he dropped a comparison that made it all crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is Michael Jordan in year one. She's that level of transformational. Jordan didn't just enter the NBA, he reinvented it. Clark is doing the same thing for the WNBA. The parallels are undeniable. Jordan's arrival made the NBA a global brand. Clark is making the WNBA a mainstream American product. Both faced jealousy from veterans. Both got physically targeted on the court. Both had enforcers brought in to protect them. Oakley for Jordan, Sophie Cunningham for Clark. Both became must-watch television the moment they stepped into the league. Clark is already leading the WNBA in every offensive category that matters. She's not just competing, she's dominating. And as
I think they deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, well, there's one that moves the needle.
I pointed out, this is the worst she'll ever be. She's only going to get better, and that's exactly why the targeting and the jealousy are intensifying. Veterans can't stop her, so they foul her. They knock her down. They talk behind her back. They take petty shots at press conferences. But just like Jordan, every bump only makes her stronger. Every cheap shot only makes her more determined. The smart players see what's happening. Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, they've embraced Clark. They've chosen to collaborate instead of compete. They understand that being part of a rise means their careers get elevated too, but the resistors, the ones clinging to jealousy and bitterness, they are going to get left behind. And when they do, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. Because here's the harsh truth. The WNBA need Clark infinitely more than Clark needs a WNBA. Clark made $11 million this year in endorsements. She doesn't need league salary to be rich. She's already set for life. But the WNBA, without her, it would be right back to empty gyms and budget motels. That's the message Cowherd hammered home. That's why his takedown hit so hard. He forced everyone to admit the truth. Stop biting the hand that feeds you. Start appreciating the golden goose that I in the NBA. There are multiple superstars who drive ratings. LeBron, Curry, Durant, Giannis. If one steps away, another fills a gap. The WNBA doesn't have that luxury. It is Caitlin Clark. One player, one phenomenon. One reason the league finally matters in mainstream America, the numbers don't lie. Since Clark arrived, every single metric has skyrocketed. Merchandise, sponsorships, attendance, streaming, ratings. It's all Clark. And yet some veterans are still living in denial, complaining about her while flying private, when just a year ago they were stuck on budget airlines. That's not just ungrateful, it's delusional. Cowherd's prediction was simple but devastating. This targeting isn't breaking Clark, it's making her. This jealousy isn't slowing her down, it's fueling her. Every hard foul, every cheap shot, every petty insult, it all turns into motivation. And the end result? Clark becomes an even better player. Intensity and heat create steel, Cowherd said. And is right. The Indiana Fever fans are in for the best ride of the next 15 years. Clark isn't going anywhere. She's the Steph Curry of the WNBA. She's untradeable, untouchable, unstoppable. The transformation is happening with or without the veterans' approval. The smart ones will adapt and thrive. The others will be left behind, bitter and forgotten, while Clark rewrites the history of women's basketball. Cowherd's closing warning to the league was as clear as it gets. When the wave hits, ride it. Don't fight it. Caitlin Clark.
I think they deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, Well, there's one that moves the needle.
Clark is the wave. She's the golden goose. She's the reason the WNBA finally has a future. And anyone foolish enough to keep fighting her is only guaranteeing their own irrelevance. So the question isn't whether Clark will succeed. That's already answered. The only question is who will be smart enough to ride with her and who will get left behind in the wreckage of their own jealousy. Because make no mistake, Clark isn't slowing down. This story is just getting started, and the best is yet to come.